Hello everyone and welcome back to that one playthrough of MMORPG Tycoon 2. I am Kyle once again, and you joined us in the beautiful gardens, or at least flower fields, that exist in the rocky zone of Baltron. Yeah, we got some construction done here, or I should say some deconstruction, seeing as it's ruins, of our lovely little area here, where there's lots of rocks and flowers and plants, and it's starting to really bring the area together between some of the spider zones we've got here, blending into said ruiny areas. I've added a few things since the last episode, kind of in the background. I've added kind of a little bit of a gate check here as we enter the city. As we go in here, there's not too much that has changed, except for if we head over kind of this big bureaucratic type building I built with the walls around it. I have added in a little bit of a camp because whoever is operating this system here, it's gonna be this guy right here. He's gonna be kind of a businessy executive slash private army holding individual. Yes, he's got this force here that he's been acquiring. We'll kind of flesh out some quests here probably a little bit today, because as you can see, he's got quite a few guards in these tents area outside of his main mansion. And we've got some quest givers. I have placed quite a few quest givers around just because I want to start making sure we add some stuff for people to do. But before I get into that, I want to make sure I flesh out kind of the transitional segments, because we are approaching that point in the game where we're gonna eventually leave Baltron here pretty soon. We'll drift back here and there as we do with all kinds of things in all of our territories. But yeah, I want to make sure we flesh out this zone here, the transition into Angalor, the kingdom actual territory, and then I'm gonna build I'm gonna build another transition over into this territory here. So I think that's a good place to go ahead and start for today. This is a pretty easy one to kind of do. We just want a mountain pass, and ooh, that's an interesting direction there. I don't want any other entrances into Angalor, except for the one that's coming here from Baltron. And then I'm going to have another one that's going to kind of transition between Baltron and, Angalor and whatever the name of this territory is going to be. So we can probably, let's see, we'll place one as far to the edge here as we can, like that. That's a good spot for it. Not that we're doing anything there yet. And then we're going to use over here. I want it to be really close to the wall, but I don't want to disrupt the wall. Yeah, it's not letting me do it there anyway. So if I kind of go, I'm thinking, how about there? Okay, that still disrupted the wall. So it's got its own issues there. Maybe I'll just put like a big rock here. We'll put a big rock here to kind of have the wall just run into a rock, and that way it's still protected, and then from this angle, you won't even notice that, you know, there's a path there. Okay, so yeah, let's work on the transitions here. Oh, I'm lost. Where the heck am I? Nope, went too far. Okay, we've kind of got, I made, obviously, these pillars here, as I showcased in previous episodes, so it has a cool transition as you walk into Angalor. I like that. I'm going to keep that as it is. I don't even think I'm going to really add anything to that. I do want to add some extra, I don't know what you call it, like extravagant pillar work of sorts. Let's see. I need to flatten these out. We'll take these bad boys in here. Let's actually do it really close to the wall. Let's make it feel like these were just like everything else in the port. I want these to feel like they were carved out of the rest of the scenery. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place. Well, do I want them? I want them to be bigger for one. Here's what I'm going to do. Because I want them to be the same size, and I want them to be almost perfectly level with each other, or about as level as I can get them. So let's see how big we can go before this gets obnoxious. Not quite obnoxious yet. Better yet, how big can I go? Ooh. Actually feels like... Yeah, it's not... As long as it's not bigger than the mountain, I don't feel like it's obnoxious. So here's what I'm going to do. One, and... We'll fix the other one in a second. We'll line them up once we get it, figure out where it's gonna live. How low can you go? Yeah, let's go like that, and then we're gonna go right up against the road. And we're gonna rotate it so that we can line it up with said road. Yeah, I want it to feel like it hugs it. Yeah, just like that. I like that the lip here is kind of caving under a little bit. Okay, so that's one side of it there. Now we just need to get this one to line up as close as possible. Whoa! Okay, so first things first, let's bring it down. And we'll line up to here so we can get them the same height. Does that look like the same height? I think that's the same height. Then go out, some rotato potato, down, over. We can get it lined up with the road. Well, that's pretty close there. I think maybe slightly in. Oh, it's really close. I think that's pretty good. I could spend like an hour here trying to line that up, but I think that's pretty good. I like how they're uneven too in terms of how far in the mountain they each are. It looks pretty close, but there's more there's closer rock here, there's more exposed over here. But yeah, the idea would be is they kind of carved it out of the stone that was here. So maybe this was like a more narrow canyon. So what we could do is we could add some more severe rocks here to kind of shelter it. Oh, and there is this new rock. I need to explain to everybody. This new rock that's in the game, this might actually be the best rock that's ever been invented. I'll explain. You see, you can place said rock wherever you'd like, right? So let's just take the, okay, too big. If you take said rock, you can put said rock wherever you want. So we can kind of make this look like it was carved out of, let's say, some rock, okay? Now, I could use the same rock, but then, you know, oh yeah, some of the features, they're pretty identical, they look similar, blardy blardy blar. Okay, let's kind of just, we'll place this one here. Right. So rock looks pretty similar, but then if I go like this, I can literally rotate it any direction I want, and there's no flat edge on this rock. There's no flat edges. So regardless of which way I rotate this, it looks like it could naturally exist as a rock. Like, that looks a little wonky, sure, but you know, you can place this rock wherever you want. Case in point, I built this rock out in the ocean, playing around with it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good rock to just have out in the ocean. This right here, this is the exact same rock. I just rotated it, and you can't tell. They don't look alike at all, but this looks like it could belong here. So yeah, I digress, but yeah, best rock in the game. Now I say this as I don't actually want to use this particular rock here. I've got maybe a different rock I'll go with. Tell you about some rocks. Yeah, I want a good rock that I can use kind of as a canyon-y type wall here. So we're gonna kind of go like this. There we go. We'll put one there. And then yeah, the cool thing about this one is we can kind of just rotate a little bit. Another one down here. Sink that. And just like that, we can kind of create a, ooh, that even like meets at the top. I kind of like that. Yeah, now it's like carved out of the rock, but not taking up too much space. All right, I'm gonna use a couple more of these. These are just gonna be like the foundational pieces for the rest of this, I think. There we go. Okay, so this will look a little wonky to start with. Then we'll use this rock that we've used a lot. And we'll do place on, and we can kind of overlap these a little bit. Just kind of create the big sections of this. Let's put one right in there. There. We'll add into here. Okay, that way we've kind of created some tiering. And then we'll kind of just fill these in. No, I didn't mean to do that. No, I meant to do Z. I want to rotate. Yeah, and if we just kind of hide these in here like this. Bada bing. Rotate. Yeah. That way we can kind of fill this in. Don't want it to match other transitions we've done. I want it to be unique. And the spaces back here, I mean, that's kind of covered up, but we can always just throw an extra one there for kicks. We'll shrink it down a little bit, and then, let's see, that's the same side as is exposed up there. And then the reason I wanted this little lip down here is just to make it easier to kind of position something with some layers like that. There we go. I liked where that was, like right there. There we go. Yeah, that's good. Let's add one more sort of biggish one. Ooh, let's have some overhang with that little rock there. And then see if we can get to look like it was kind of at one point maybe connected even. I'm gonna throw one more big one back here. All right, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, it's yeah, I'm okay with it actually looking like it's got sheer spaces here. That way it can kind of look like maybe it was sort of carved from some existing pieces that were there. Ooh, I know, in these indents, I could add some stuff. Yeah, we kind of go like that. Level them up. Yeah, then it can look like maybe it was covered up for some reason. Why? I don't know. Reasons. Just reasons. And these don't have to necessarily be lined up. I'm not too worried about this. I mean, I could try, I guess. Where's this one? This one's right about here. Yeah, so that would work about there. There we go. That way it kind of feels like there's some importance or rationale there. I like that. And then you get into the actual gates here. We'll keep that more or less exposed like that. All right, natural barrier for defensive purposes. I like it. And I've been using these towers a lot for the Angari, so I feel like I might as well keep that trend going. I don't want to cover up the cool stonework though. Maybe I'll put this last one here next to this other guard post. Yeah, and then a good number of ballista. We'll kind of have backup ballistas here. This is for if somebody tries to just barrel their way through. We'll put one up here too. Kind of positioned with a shot down the road where they can take advantage of the corridor there. We'll make this feel kind of fleshed out with some guards. Heavily protected area. This is kind of the final checkpoint before you end up in their primary territory. I'm gonna put some stuff that kind of feels like a little bit more of a permanent camp. I say permanent, but then I go and I use a tent still, but whatever. I guess I could use a modular building. All right, I'll put a modular building kind of behind the tree here. Oh, that's too close to the hill. Got it. Okay. My bad, my bad. Maybe I'll put it out here. Is that gonna... Ugh, that's still awkward, huh? Okay, let's move a few things. There we go. Just move that next to those trees. Then we can reposition a few things. Yeah, so we'll kind of say even though this is like a permanent structure here, we'll say that there's not enough room to house everybody, so there's a couple of tents here. That's a pretty simple structure. Can I take this pillar and like turn it into a in-ground fire pit? Is that a thing that can happen? Can it go that low? Not particularly, but I actually don't mind how that looks. Alright, little tiny bit of a camp with some supplies set up for them. But yeah, this will be the last checkpoint kind of before we'll end up in the capital city for the Angari. I do want to add barricades here. That seems practical. Kind of shrink them a little bit. I guess there is a big giant exposed flank on the side here, but you just give me 1 second. We'll make a correction there. Because we could say that they are taking advantage of some of the old kind of destroyed terrain here. So we'll kind of go like this. I'll add a couple of segments here. That, and then we'll kind of make it look like they kind of grabbed some of these things. So we'll take this pillar. We'll make it look like they kind of grabbed it, put it over here to help kind of add to some of the segments of barriers, barricading here. Then we can kind of fill this in. We'll kind of go like that, so they have essentially an extra piece here that they could throw in to fill that in if they needed to. That way there's some decent protections here that look fairly permanent. Now, as far as up here goes, let's see if I can rotate this tree. Maybe not. Maybe I'll have to get it out of the way a little bit. Because what I would like to do is get some big old ballistas up here. Now we're talking. So now if there was ever like a, a big army assault of any kind, kind of add like some segments where they can get up there from the other side, so there's like a big wall defense they could put on here. There's not really a gate, but maybe like worst case scenario, they push some rocks into the crevice and block it so that nobody can get in or out. Well defended though. All right, and now as far as the transition over here goes, I think it'd be pretty easy to kind of do the same thing partially with the rocks. Doesn't have to be identical, because one, I don't want it to be identical. So we will take one of these that has been pre-flattened to not go with the terrain. Ooh, that might be good right there. And then we'll kind of do the same thing here. Boom. Then we can use our big primary rock. Oh, didn't mean to place one there, but it exists there now. All right, and there we go. Now we have that filled in. Now, as far as this transition, to really kind of, make it permanent, I gotta wait until I figure out exactly what I'm doing with this territory. But, yeah, not another forest. We've got enough forest. Like, literally, I think I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, like, literally 50% forests. We're done with forests for a little bit, okay? Angalor's gonna be a forest. We'll deal with that. Things after Angalor, no more forests for a while. In fact, I'm like feeling like I need another desert because of all the forests. All right, because we got the points, I'm gonna go ahead and do the upgrade button. I'm gonna add to socializing, I think. I haven't done that for a little bit. Everyone could use some socializing. All right, and then what we need to really do to kind of pull this place together. Now, I could do more decorating down here by the coast. I think I'll do that maybe in some off time when I'm not recording. But we should try to get some quests, some fun quests filled out here. Now, as far as quests go in the port, there are 11 quest givers that I've already placed around here that we just need to kind of connect and have them do certain things. Down here by the little bureaucratic manor, we've got one guy down here who is one of our kind of market kind of guy quest givers. Yeah, he's basically a Frank Beans, but he's not Frank Beans. We've got this guy down here as a swashbuckler who's kind of the captain of this guy's private army that are kind of built out here as protection unit. If we follow the road this direction, up by our respawn point, I put 2 in here. There's one who's a paladin, there's one who is a druid, because I got this lovely little garden area. We'll connect something along there. If we move up the road here, this little inlet, outlet, export kind of thing here is going to have some quests to do, some businessy stuff. We got some Angari in here at this building. Over here on this side of the dock, you've got 2 over here, 1 in there, and then 1 over in this building. And if we continue to follow this up further, we've gone over here by this building, which I've kind of labeled internally as the barracks building for the port. So we'll have a barracks over here with some stuff you're going to do maybe for these new recruits. And then if we cross over to the other side back here before we loop all the way around, I've got a little gnome who's going to be investigating some of the stonework. That would be pretty cool. And you got a little guard over here that we'll do something with. I don't know. So yeah, quite a few of them. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the bureaucratic guy. Now the way I need to do this, or the way at least I'm thinking of it, is he needs to obviously be connected by somebody else. And originally we had a few different ways that the player could get to the inn. Now players tend to just gravitate towards inns anyways. You don't have to direct them there via a quest. It's not a required mechanic. So I'm gonna come over here to Hanka Angari, who already has a bunch of quests. And the last one was Enter Port Baltrin, and it was basically taking people to the inn. I'm going to change this And instead, he's kind of like, hey, if you want some work, the guy to talk to is the one that kind of controls a lot of the business operations going on in there. I recommend you go to our good friend here, whom I have nameless, Ares the Strong. I don't like that. I'm just gonna call this Sistine de Baltron. He is Sistine of Baltron, and he's kind of gonna be the quote-unquote kind of, I don't know if you want to say lord of the underbelly of this city, if there is gonna be much of an underbelly. It's a wealthy city, so he's more of the overbelly, I guess. Like, everyone knows who he is, but he's so rich he can just do whatever the heck he wants. The first thing should not be destroy spiders. In fact, he should probably almost never destroy spiders. He's gonna want to probably make sure you can follow directions and do as you're told. So he's gonna have you go over, I think the best case would be to kind of interconnect some of these other quests. So I'm gonna connect this guy. This is a fighter of Zephyr, Lithius the Eternal. How about Lithius the Loyal? Does what he's told, helps make sure all things go as planned, isn't afraid to turn a blind eye when shady business is going on, lets things just happen under the table, no need to say anything. And that's why he's loyal to our friend Sistine. Well, friend in air quotes. We're gonna call this Prove Your Worth. Now, as a player, I want my players to feel like they are doing some good in this world. They're not just doing shady business for this guy, so they're gonna use this as kind of like, oh my gosh, there's some shady business going on, and you're gonna want to do what's right for the people in this community. Now, this is not the same faction as our Empire city to the north. This is a different faction. They are allied, so that's why in my headcanon, the players won't attack each other. But whether you're Angari or Empire, you're going to want to favor the people of the city and not this guy, as he's just kind of taking whatever he wants. So while he's going to be giving you quests, the quests are actually going to be interlinking to stuff that you'll actually get to kind of bring him down from the outside, or the inside rather. So you're gonna go over there and you discover that basically he's committing fraud. The stuff that he's selling, importing and exporting from the city in multiple locations, he has control over so much of it. He's actually able to basically sway the books, you might say. So this next one, he's not gonna take you. I like how it's already taken you over to this building, because that's exactly where I want you to go, and I want you to interconnect with this guy. This says Agent Walmer. No, because basically what you're doing is, after talking to him, I want the player to be like, oh, I should go tell the leader of the guard in the area, and you know that, well, you could find directions via in the city, like, oh, I better inform somebody that there's some shady business going on, so then the player would deduce, you know, maybe you ask guards or something, like, how do I find somebody who's in charge to kind of help bring this to their attention? Call this Inside Man, because you are the Inside Man now. And then that way we can kind of have the quest over there eventually do more exploratory things. I'll get to that in a second. I want to kind of finish what our Sistine missions look like. So you're going to basically keep doing investigatory work. You're going to keep coming back to him, see what else he wants you to do so you can bring down his little empire. He's going to connect you to his little quest giver here, which is his kind of captain of the guard. We're going to say private guard. He wants you to basically join his private guard. And then after that, he's going to want you to kind of start to help him take down other people in command. So this section here where I built this kind of castle portion over the top of this dock, I'll have you go to the dock itself here, but this is going to be like a shipbuilding area. I wanted this to have a big suspension unit, so similar to kind of what I did in Zephyr. We're going to build ships right here, but this is also where the kind of leadership of Angalor would come in, and this is the dock they would use. It's well defended, guarded. They don't have to worry about being open and exposed if they ever have to go in and off of a ship there. He's going to go there and basically want you to start planting some traps, maybe see if you can bribe some of the guards so they can continue to keep a closer eye on the royalty going in and out of the port. I'll leave the last quest open. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do there yet, but we'll continue that. Okay, now we'll come over to our friend here, Sapien the Swift. I kind of like that. It's okay, I'll go with it. So Sapien wants you to go and find some recruits, so I'll actually have him send you over to the, what is this, the barracks area here as well. See if you can bribe some new recruits to leave their servitude of the Angari army and come over here and join their private military force. Call this Swift Cash, because essentially he's just going to try and convince, again, people to come over here and do this instead of their normal servitude. Now, he's also heard of a few people at one of the other ports who have kind of been doing some stuff that business-wise is cutting into their profits. So he's going to have you come over to this guy. We'll connect to that quest giver there for this port section here, or this dock rather. We'll call this uncovered. This is going to be just, you know, uncovering some dealings where somebody is kind of going behind the bureaucrat's back. Now what, or at least that's what our captain thinks, what's really happening is the bureaucrat himself, Sistine, has actually been doing some shady business where he's essentially supposed to be paying his army a percentage of the work that they're doing or helping contribute to. And Sapien has discovered that they're not actually getting the cut that Sistine normally promises, and Sistine is the one that's actually going behind their back. So he's going to start to think like, wait a second, what else is he hiding from us? And basically what we've done here is discovered some infighting. So Sapien is now going to say, okay, he's going to go and do that then, huh? I know a guy over here, connect to another quest, who knows a lot of the secret words that get thrown around the city. He kind of hears all the whispers. He'll be able to tell you what's going on if he's heard anything. We might have to bribe him a little bit in order to do so. So he's also going to give you... I'll rack up the cash on a few of these later too, but big chunk of change, because this is worth a lot of information. Call this Whispers in the Fog. And at this point now, Sapien knows. He knows that Sistine has been doing business behind everyone's back and not delivering more of their profits. So he's going to have you go over to the inn. And in the inn, essentially, we're gonna try and hire an assassin to take out Sistine. Now there's two ways this could play out in the game. My kind of headcanon here again would be, if you're the good guy, you could say, hey, I'll try and take him down by other means. Maybe we do it politically or financially rather than actually assassinating him, but this could be like the player gets to choose. So depending on how you choose, you go to the inn and that decides like, oh, are we getting an assassin? Or are we getting maybe some kind of, I don't know, tax specialist who comes in and investigates him? We'll call this Downfall. And then his last quest would basically just be to take you back to Sistine himself, where you kind of either take all the evidence to him and say like, we've taken you down, you're worthless now, blardy blardy blar. Or, you know, maybe you get to be the assassin if you choose the bad guy route. And, we'll call this the takedown. And depending on how you look at it, you know, like maybe you helped a private army kind of gain control of an entire company, which might be sort of terrifying at the same time, but you also brought down a stingy rich dude who basically was stipping all his employees, and also had a private army, which is still that much more terrifying to begin with. All right, now let's come over to the little guard here that's kind of on the outermost peninsula of the port city here. I want to grab him. This is not going to be a squire. A hoyden. Is that a hoyden? I think that says a hoyden. Or at least that's how I'm pronouncing it. We're going to give Hoyden Angari his name. He's going to basically be, I don't know, doing a bunch of investigations. This is a very paranoid character. He thinks that nobody is doing their job well. He feels like he has to have constant oversight. Really, he's just kind of a terrible manager in that sense. Terrible at engaging people. And he basically thinks everyone's up to no good. He's micromanaging everything, super inefficient, terrible at his job. And you're just going to help him be terrible at his job, because to me that would be hilarious. He's going to think this guy's up to no good. He thinks this little engineer gnome is probably trying to like find weaknesses in the rock, so that he could plan an attack, because everyone knows gnomes not to be trusted in any fantasy universe. Always after world domination. We're going to call this Gnome Where to Go. Why don't you go investigate the gnome? That'll hook you up with that quest line, which we'll get to in some time. Next one, we're going to say he's got to go, he wants you to go and check on this guard way out here. Now, back in the day, you'll notice I put some ruins out here in between episodes. Back in the day, this used to be like a watchtower / lighthouse. Some very intelligent people decided to build it right on a sandbar because, you know, that's a good place for a foundation. I'm actually not going to have the player do that. I think, let's see, well, I want them to go out here, but I kind of want them to fight something. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to move him there. And he's decided not to go out here because he has discovered that it is haunted out here. So we'll put some skelly boys out here. the lighthouse is haunted. And then I'm gonna put a legendary skeleton out here. There we go. So that way there's some fun combat. I feel like we need some fun combat. So we'll do that. I'm gonna make, I don't want this many skeletons. Let's do very light. So we'll make it minimal. So there's just a few of them. I mostly just want the elite guy. We'll kind of go like that so he's secluded, so you don't have to fight him and the little ones. And then, you know, I guess we could say that he was rightfully a little bit paranoid that they weren't doing their job out here. Because, yeah, there's clearly a bunch of zombies walking around. So we'll say you gotta go fight the big skeleton there. Alright, so you're fighting a big skeleton. That's fun. That's exciting. Really, really the way that would play out is I want it to feel like the player actually goes to this guard, but I don't want to have him go to that guard and make them another quest giver just to send you over here to kill one guy. It just seems like a lot of extra steps. He also says thin the skeletons. Don't do that. I think it would be cool if he also just checks on a couple of guards. So like, where's some guards that could get really lazy? Oh, down here in like town here. Where is the tavern? Tavern? This is the tavern. Okay. He wants to go check on some guards by the tavern just to make sure they're not screwing around and, you know, drinking. We're just gonna call this one too many. Go and check on some drunkards. And then I think we should have him go here. He's gonna check on maybe the order of weapons that were supposed to come out here to help him defend, because even though he's got the most boring job out by a tower by the edge of the ocean on the port here, where there's literally nothing bad ever gonna happen except for, I guess, random, you know, skeletons on a sandbar. Anyways, there's nothing that's really gonna ever happen. He doesn't see any action. He's just paranoid that his sword is not sharp enough and his men aren't well equipped enough out here in case they have to be the saviors of the day against the nothingness. So we'll call this Whetstone. And then the last one, I'm gonna have him interconnect to probably another quest. He wants you to just go and investigate why the heck there is a paladin over here, because players might miss this. I mean, they probably do within the code of the game know where quest givers are and can kind of see them from a distance, but it'd be nice to kind of just make sure that's interconnected. Call this Who's Who, because he's curious as to who this fella is. Alright, so a little fun quest there, more or less, where you kind of discover some random stuff. Now, our little gnome friend here, this will be interesting. Lyrina the Bold, I like that name. That's very cute. The first thing you're going to do is just help them investigate the main stone here. Now, each of these towers was carved out of the stone that was originally here. So the faction, as we've kind of talked about, that were here long before the Angari, carved and built these things. And these towers seem to have some kind of magical essence running through them. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what or where it's coming from, but that's what this little gnome is investigating. You know, they've got like one of the, like a Geiger counter for magic. I don't know. We're gonna call this More Than Meets the Eye. Do 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 do. And then we're gonna make the second quest just to go to the other tower. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. I'm gonna call this I'm Onto Something, except I'm not gonna make the O capital. That would be weird. Third one will take you to the other tower in the middle of the forest here. That one. And we're just gonna call this Watching. Because as you return to them after that quest, you're gonna kind of give them the sense that you felt like every tower you've gone to, something could see you. Now, I don't have another quest here. However, as we know, there was a tower that we placed way the heck out here. Now, I am going to connect this because these are interconnected. I am going to make this an insane amount of experience because, well, it's a long trip. Okay, so we'll give it to the player. I'm going to call this I've Felt This Before. So this gnome has visited this other tower and wants you to go confirm that you get the same sensation from this tower as well. I'll add more in as well as we go through the game, but I think after you get the verification from there, this quest will take you to wherever we kind of end up making maybe the gnome capital, and maybe there's some more investigation going on there. But there will be some insight into this as we start to investigate and build out the Angari capital. Alright, we're going to come over to some of the other parts of our port here. I think I'd like to go with the little guard captain here. So this is the new recruits. This would be a fun quest, I think, for like, hey, you're learning how to kind of fight in the area a little bit. So it's like, you know when you play those games where you start and you like join a guild or something, and then by the end of the quest line, for some reason, you're like the leader of the guild? This is gonna be that kind of quest. All right, so the first thing here in his little quest line for new recruits in the area, for those joining the Angari forces, is gonna be just meet all your classmates. You're gonna go and talk to them all and, you know, greet them, say hello, meet your classmates. We're gonna do some sparring, some like easy little fighting. So I think what would be fun here is, I'm not really gonna make actual bandits. I want this to be some easy fighting. They are going to technically be bandits, I suppose. But I'm gonna put a few of them here, and I'll kind of etch this away from the road so there's some level of safety. So we got some nice easy level 4 bandits. Let's see, why are they not showing up? Why do I not have any bandits? Okay, there's a couple. All right, so I had a couple of bandits. These are again these are other classmates. These are other new recruits. They just are sparring with you, quote unquote sparring with you. That's all they're doing. So we'll just have you go over there, and you're gonna take down like, I don't know, two of your classmates. Is that a thing? Go murder 2 of your classmates. Don't tell anybody I said that. How do you spell sparring? That looks like sparing. Sparring? Listen, just hit me in the comments about how disappointed you are in me for not just going on to the Googles and looking up how to spell sparring, and instead I'm recording this, I'm going to fully edit it, I'm going to put this in the video, you're going to hear me say all this crap only to complain to me in the comments anyways, so just tell me if I'm right or wrong, will ya? Alright, I look forward to the criticisms. Alright, now after that, you've kind of got some, you know, experience under your belt, you're feeling like you could be part of the town guard. You wanna be a part of the gang. Alright, you're gonna go investigate some criminal activity. Alright, so we're gonna go over here, and you're gonna be like, yo, we're investigating criminal activity, and then, you know, it's kind of just like one of those little things where you think you're investigating criminal activity, you're really just going on a short patrol for some practice, and you actually end up accidentally discovering some criminal activity, and you think, oh crap, I better go tell my commanding officer. We're gonna call this accidental success. Well, then your commanding officer is gonna tell you, you know, you should not get involved with this. We will bring it to the more experienced investigators and detectives that exist within our ranks. And you're gonna be like, okay, that's fine. But then you ended up talking to your buddy next to you, and you find out like, hey, he's actually really interested in figuring out what's going on too. So you grab him, and you grab your third friend, who's actually the comedic like backup kind of for the entire buddy cop situation that's going on here, and he's actually terrified and he doesn't think you should do it, but it's fun to bring him along because it creates extra story and engagement, and it's funny. And you decide to go down to the docks and do some investigating. You sneak into the building and you discover that there's a bunch of forged documents, and you think to yourself, oh my gosh, we are in over our heads. In over your head. Now the last quest before we build this out, we're gonna now add a level 4 elite bandito, and he's gonna kind of live down by the dock. We'll put him like right there, just as a place. Let's see, is he gonna fight? Please don't fight the guards. That's all I request. Like, live here. No, guard. Dang. Oh yeah, see, that's what I'm afraid of. The guards will just kill him quickly, so let's put all the guards further away. I need that guy to respawn now, unfortunately. Alright, well, he'll respawn at some point. Maybe I should put him more over here. That's really close to where they are, though. I gotta find a good spot for him. Hopefully he respawns soon so I can relocate him. Anyways, if I speed up time, there we go, I sped up time. Let's put him over here, and we'll kind of put another building over there for him to live in at some point, but that way he's out of the way and the guards don't murder him accidentally. Alright, so last quest, you're gonna tell your commanding officer, look, we discovered all this stuff, you need to help us, like, actually go take down this crime lord, and he's gonna be like, oh, you weren't supposed to go do anything, like, there's no way this is real. So again, like the good little recruit you are, you take it into your own hands, unlike you were commanded to not do, and you're gonna go over here and just beat this guy up, and yeah, you end up saving the day and being the hero that no one knew you really were. It's a fantastic thing, and they're gonna rejoice and give you all kinds of things. We're gonna give some good rewards here. Let's say 6,000 experience, and then 200 gold would be a nice good lump sum of like, wow, you saved the day and discovered this underground portion of the city we didn't know existed. Even though they probably did, and they just didn't realize you'd actually be able to take it down, but they're impressed nonetheless. All right, there's obviously still 4 quest goers literally in this corner of the town. You can ignore the 2 outside of town. We already did those in the last episode. I'm gonna leave these because these are gonna maybe be some other stuff I flesh out and attach to some other stuff. I want to quickly come over here before I use too much time today, and we're gonna use Esteemed Shap. That's a weird name. This is going to be Paladin Yo. Now, Paladin Yo is trying to, channel the inner workings of Yorgrass, his great deity from above. He's trying to spread the good word to the people of Angalor, because they don't really follow Yorgrass, the sentinel of the Allhammer, the great forge keeper in the sky, brother of Para. I could go on. So if you want to follow the quest that he's going to take you on, he's going to have you just worship and find your inner connection to Yorgrass at the respawn point here. Speak with Yorgrass, and then he's going to have you go over to the blacksmith because, he's a paladin and he worships a great forge keeper, the sentinel of lightning, and he's going to have you go over there and just learn the ways of the hammer. Oh, I thought I was going to run out of characters there. I got really lucky, I think. And then after that, you learn the ways of the hammer. He's going to have you go to some houses. I don't know why this is so funny to me. It's probably because I live in an area where people actually do this. He's going to go to houses and he's going to have you spread the word. Spread the word of Yorgrass. I apologize in advance to everybody that I'm making this stupid quest, but it makes me giggle so much. I just want him to send people on like missionary service, and you're just gonna go spread the word. Spread the word more. Oh wait, he's still got one more quest. I'm not done yet. I don't know why I thought this was so funny. All right, and then the last one we'll have you. I don't know. Let's go. Just a few more houses down to there. We'll just call this more words. And there you go. You have spread the good word of Yorgrass. You've now told people about the great almighty forge keeper in the sky, the sentinel of lightning, keeper of the hammer, guider of the paladins of Nethador. And then, I don't know, this would be one of those funny RPG quests where like you feel like you're wasting your time, but at the very end you get like a little perk that's like +5 damage with hammers. And you're like, oh, that'd be cool if I used hammers. Now, there's a few other quest givers, like I said, the 4 there. There's still a druid in here as well I'll get to. There's one last quest I want to make sure I do before we finish up for today, because I am going to run out of time. I want to double check first. Okay, so this guy goes to the Baltran artifacts. This guy, does he end with go to the guy over here? Yes. Perfect. That's what I wanted to make sure happened. So this guy is kind of the, I don't know, he's not like super important in terms of story or political standing. He is kind of like the halfway meeting point in terms of the bureaucrat / bookkeeper who watches everyone who goes in and out of these 2 provinces. Now obviously you've got to kind of complete his tasks that he wants you to make sure you complete, whether that's him just double checking paperwork, whatever it might be, but he's the one you got to go through before you can make it into, Angalor proper. Now theoretically, once a player reaches the proper level, they'll just be able to walk in nonchalantly because that's the way this game works. I can't put a gate there, but we can at least add some more quests here. So he's gonna have you just do some, I don't know, some bureaucratic checking. So we'll just have you got to go through like, I don't know, customs before you enter. So you're gonna go into this house. We'll just call this the customs house. All right, customs. You're gonna go do customs. Now the other thing that you're doing when you walk up to him is in regard to the quest line that comes from the guys investigating all of the artifacts that are in the ruiny area. Is he's going to eventually connect you to the proper authorities on the inside. So there's going to be the task of sending you in there, but one of the quests will actually take you to a specific person that's doing more investigatory work with the actual artifacts themselves. When you come and tell him you have information, he's going to be like, okay, I need you to double check with a few things first. Or sorry, he needs to double check with a few things first, so he'll take you to this inn as well, I think would be smart. And then if for whatever reason the players went from these quests over here at the edge of the forest to him and they kind of bypassed what's over here, that will redirect the player back to the inn, the swashbuckler here that has you go and hunt all of the elite monsters here, and then this guy who's having you keep safe the area, and he'll also connect to our little cave back there in the corner. And then from there we'll have him tie into the rest of the quests that are in Angalor proper. So we're gonna say Elisrib. We'll just say Elisrib and Gari. Now in terms of quests and actual experience in total, we have way more than enough than we need for this territory, so it's fine to accept players. If players are coming in here and doing stuff from this point on, we're totally golden. There's no reason to be worried about that. But we will start to keep connecting those inner things, because I really want that city to feel like players have a reason to kind of go in there and keep exploring and doing things. The one unfortunate side effect is that within MMORPG Tycoon 2, once they reach the necessary level to bypass that territory or move into another territory, they will do so. They won't stick around and keep doing quests there. But the fact that most of the quests exist within the city itself should mean that a lot of the players end up doing a lot of work there. That also means that players won't all be congregating around just, you know, quests that revolve them fighting certain animals and whatnot, so there shouldn't be congestion there. There'll be lots of moving around within the city once this gets more populated. Hopefully we can get some more players in here soon. I'm going to dive back into the leveling a little bit in some future episodes because, well, I feel like we could be doing, again, a lot more to promote some shifting and moving around of players. I love the density I see out here in good old Brightwood, but ultimately the level 1 area, level 1, level 2 area should be one of the least dense in my opinion. So we're gonna look into this with a little bit of a strong effort in future episodes once again, and I'm gonna make sure that we really start to get a better idea, because what I'd like to do in the future as well is make some actual dedicated tutorial videos, like top 10 tips, those sort of things I wish I knew before I started, because I'm obviously making lots of adjustments as I go through here just to try and make things work and make it a little more flexible, a little more beautiful with watching players actually do things. And I hope that I can hopefully do some things that'll help encourage you to make better choices. If you're already not making better choices in me, which I imagine many of you are, I think that'd be a good addition to what I provide to the channel in terms of this game. But I'd say until those points come, I'm Kyle. This has been that one playthrough of MMORPG Tycoon 2. The city of Baltron and its port here are coming together as we head our way into the depths of the Empire of Angalor. And I hope you'll join me as we approach those new episodes coming up in a different territory. And until then, I'm Kyle. This has been That One Playthrough, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Have a wonderful day. And if you enjoyed this video, we'd love it if you leave a like. It really supports the channel. If you'd like to see more from us here at That One Playthrough, go ahead and subscribe. We'd love to have you along for the journey. And if you didn't know, we do have a little Patreon. If you'd like to join the Patreon and be like one of these many supporters you see on screen here today, there's a link in the description down below. Until next time, have a wonderful day.